Good evening, everyone. A sound check. Good evening. We'll just start the session in a couple of minutes. We'll just wait for everyone to join in. Great. Fine, guys. Once again, good evening. Today's session is about how to use market profile to find trade opportunities. So we will talk about what has happened in the recent days, especially from the start of this year 2024, and look at what trade opportunities we got in the last three sessions, including today's. So I'll start with Nifty futures. You have the Nifty futures profile chart on screen. And right now I am talking about the 1st of Jan. 1st of January, we had a nice trending move higher all day, and we made those new highs of 22,025. But it left a small responsive selling tail, which was fine because it looked as if it was profit booking. But the way it got liquidated in the L period and followed by the M, wherein we went on to make a low right at the C period, the value area low of that day. So that was a very big liquidation move which came in, and it was very clear that there was a short term top which was in place. So talking about how how we follow market profile charts and how we use them as a setup to take further trades, I'll just tell you. And in market profile, we follow value. We don't follow price. So we see how and where value is found for the day. So we can see these 3 days, 28th of December, 29th of December, and the 1st of January, we have formed overlapping value. So from this 1st of Jan, we have this reference of the responsive tail, and we have this POC and VWAP. Because it was a trend day which failed because we closed around the lows, the POC and VWAP of that particular day was an important reference. So what we do is overlapping value, we just merge them so that we can get a composite. And we use that as a reference for the following sessions. So as you can see, the composite value area low of this was 21867. And the next session we opened just below this. So using market profile, we knew that the market has made a short-term top, and now we are trading below the previous value, the value of the 3 days also. So now we knew on the second that we are probing lower. And how do we know that we are probing lower? One is we are trading below previous value, and then we have got one small initiative selling tail. Initiative is a tail which is formed in the initial balance, the first 1 hour of trade. So you can see we formed a small initiative selling tail, and then we left an extension handle as the B period started. So we knew that the PLR was to the downside. So using market profile, we would be looking for short trades on this day. And if you're looking at options, you would look to go long put options or short call options. So after this, we had this seaside extension, which I'll come to later because I'll be explaining this bank nifty setup today, which we had, which was a typical seaside. So after the seaside on second, it made a small bounce again to that extension handle, but value was lower. So we knew that the path was on the downside. Next day again, we left another initiative selling tail, and we closed in a spike lower. So this spike lower closed right at this buying reference of 26th of December. So which is what happened after this. We were forming overlapping value. You can see from the 2nd of January, we and after we made this spike low, we started to form a balance. So as we made that 6J balance, a 3-day balance on the top, we can form a 6J composite from 2nd of January to 9th of January and mark the value in the other market profile references. So this is what we get. So here you can see on the 10th of January, we opened with a gap down. It made an attempt to move away from this value. And what it did was it tagged this, it made a look down below the A period singles. And you have the 22nd of December, we have one reference here of 21501, which was an LVN on that day. So we had an FA on 22nd of December at 21,440. So the 21,501 was an important reference from that day, which we had carried forward, and we made a low right at that point. So after which we got a period buying tail, which was telling us that the auction is now reversing to the upside. So this was what we saw. Uh, a short-term top being made on a responsive selling tail on the 1st of Jan was getting negated by this initiative buying tail on 10th of Jan. So here we were looking at that probability and it gave us more confirmation in the close because it spiked higher back into that value. So but still overall on the daily front, value of this day was lower. So we had to start forming higher value, but it was very clear that we were no longer looking for going short in this market. And this value and this POC and VWAP became our reference, just like this was our reference for going short from the 2nd of Jan. So what happened then was, because what the auction tried was it made an attempt to move away from this value area on the downside and it failed. So now it will make an attempt to do the same on the upside. But we will need to get that confirmation from market profile. How do we get that? We'll need to get some initiative activity on the value area high. So the 11th of January, we opened higher, but we formed an A period selling tail and it was getting rejected at this composite POC and this HVN, which was an important level 21774. So here there was no case of taking a long trade because we formed an initiative selling tail here. But what we did was we just filled up this spike zone and we took support right at the IBH of the previous day. So value wise, we formed higher value, although we had an initiative selling tail, which stopped us from going long on this day. But overall, the market structure was telling us that now we have formed higher value. We can look for some initiative buying to come in on the following day and take long trades. So which is precisely what happened on the 12th. 12th, the open, although the open was an open auction, uh, it was just an open auction. What it did was it negated this selling tail of the previous day, the 11th of Jan. So this was a very bullish sign because we already knew that we have a short-term low because of this A period tail, and then we have formed higher value the next day, and then we have negated this selling reference. So what we need to do, as I said, the attempt to move away from the value on the downside failed, so it will make an attempt on the upside. So that is what it did exactly in the B period, where it left an extension handle and it gave this long zone of singles. So this was a very clear uh, proof of going long. So market profile is telling us now this day you are looking to go long. What would be the target? That objectives would be this value area, the POC of this, and then just a second, guys. I'll just shift this to the value based value area. This is showing the TPO. Yeah. So because it is very important when you're looking at futures chart to have the volume based value area marked. You have the option at the bottom. So volume based value area is what we look, because volumes is what drives the markets. So the higher the volumes, the more range you can expect. So as we are talking about this, so the objectives for this was the value area low, the POC of this, which was also the rollover point. So we through market profile we know the setup. We know that we have to go long, and we know the objectives of this. We know the objectives of this and what we could expect. So, but how? What about the trade execution? So that is where we use order flow to take uh, the entries and keep our stop losses. So market profile is giving us the reference, it is giving us the context, it is telling us you need to go look for long trades, the open is strong, we have had an initiative buying tail, so you need to look to go long. So order flow, what we do, I'll just show up the order flow chart. This is the 30-minute order flow chart, and we follow the 30-minute and the 3-minute order flow chart. So I'll just divide the screen into two. You have the 30-minute order flow chart on your left. This is the 12th of Jan. This is the A period TPO. So it is similar to what we see in this what profile we see, the profile chart A and B is what we see in order flow over here, this A and B. So in order flow, what we want to see is greens or initiative buying activity. And we want to see that on both the time frames, the 30 minutes as well as the 3 minutes. So 30 minutes will give us the larger time frame bias, and accordingly we can get fine-tuned entries and exits on the 3-minute order flow chart. So I'll just come to the zone where we have the 12th January open so that we can figure out what were the trades we could have taken on that day. Because I have already explained using market profile that we were looking for long trade, especially after the A period got over. So in the A period on 30 minutes, you can see we have formed a RB bar where you have good greens. You can see the COT is also green and the POC is in the middle, and the VWAP is also at the lower end, and the candle is closed at the around the highs. So it is complementing the view that we need to look for long trades. So when will those trades be executed? I'll just show you on the 3-minute order flow chart. And I'll also, after I show you the 30-minute and 3-minute of the futures, then I'll shift on to the option chart because we trade in options. So same setup, how we can use options to take trades, same via market profile as well as order flow is what I will show you. And on this particular day, we will look at the 21,800 call option. So we're just getting there. We are on the 12th January's 3-minute order flow chart. So the A period, we have not done anything. A period is we have just observed and we have seen that the selling tail of previous session has got negated and we need to look for long trades. So we are looking for a confirmation on the 3-minute order flow. If we get an IB, an initiative buying bar, we can use that bar as a reference to take a long position. And once we get that signal, we can use the same as the stop loss and the reference to hold or trail our position. So here we are. This is the 12th January's 3-minute order flow chart on your right side now. I'll just go to the opening bar. So here you can see this is the opening 9:15 bar, and where we have, so you can see we have got good greens in this bar. So as we saw that the A period is looking good for buyers, we the same thing is being complemented here. Only thing here what has happened is we have formed an RS kind of a bar at 21785, and we have not found any IB bar on the 3-minute order flow. But if you see the 30-minute, we are looking good. And this 21785, yes, if it is taken out, it looks to be a good trade. And what will be our references on the downside? It will be the POC of this bar, POC of A period, which is at 21770, and the VWAP of this 21765. So we just need to wait for a good signal on the 3-minute order flow chart. We already know the references which we will have. So we want the 785 to be taken out on a good green bar. So here on 945, you see we have got a 750 green, but it is more of an RS bar because we have zeros on the buy side. So we will still wait for a better signal to take this long. So here you can see now this bar is closing above this 785. So this is giving you confidence that yes, the buyers are stepping up the pressure. Here again we have zeros on the buy side, so we'll still be little bit apprehensive, and more so because we have not gotten IB bar still. So we wait for the IB bar and we get that first IB bar at 1003. So this is our signal on the order flow 3-minute chart that yes, this is where you can go long, and the stop loss for your long would be low of this IB bar or this POC 21795 or 21801. So even if you're going long at the close of this bar, which is at around 21830, 828, so you have a 30-point stop loss and you are inside in the setup. So you know, using market profile, we have a long setup which is there, and we have got that confirmation on the order flow. And as the B period gets over at 10:15, although on the 3-minute it has formed a kind of an RS here, if you see the 30-minute chart, you know that it is a very good IB which is formed. The POC is in the on the lower side, which is a very good sign. It means those buyers are still running the show, and the VWAP is at 21821, which is in the middle. So these two become our references now going forward in the C side, C period. So compared to what our entry was, which was at around 21828, we will look to book profit at least half of that position if we are getting that 1:1 profit ratio. And also because we have made a C side here, we'll be little more careful and we will book profits and trail rest to cost. So we'll trail it to cost and we'll see what further confirmation, what further signals we get from the order flow. So instead of 21828, which was our entry point, we can have this VWAP of the B period, which is a good IB bar as our trailing stop loss. Although the swing reference would be 21801, the low of the 30-minute IB, we can have this VWAP as our reference. And we look for further signals. This is again one more IB which is coming, but this is in a C side. So we do not take any fresh trade in this, but certainly we can hold on to our existing position. So I'm just going through the order flow chart of the 3 minutes with our reference, which is a 21821 on the downside, which would be our trailing stop loss, and which will get revised in case we get another good IB bar on the order flow chart based on. And coming back to why we are holding on, because we know using market profile our target, see this value area low, which is a 21867, which was our first target, which was hit in the seaside extension. And then our target would be, I'm sorry, this is again changing to the okay. So and then we know our next objective is this 21931. So unless we get that as our target, we can hold on to the position which we have entered. So that is the logic based on having one part of the position open, and we don't have anything to lose because our trailing stop loss is very close to our entry point, and we have already booked profit in half of our position. So we wait for another good IB bar for us to enable to either trail it to a higher level or book profit at the 21931 level. Either we book profit there, or we take a fresh view of changing our trailing stop loss. So you can see in this, I'll just come through. Yeah. So 30 minutes, I have just come through the 30-minute. What has happened here is we have touched this IBH of 21860, and then we have taken support over there. So we have made a low of 21852, which is still well above the reference of 21821. So using order flow, we can hold on to our positions, and till the time we get a fresh IB, we can keep that stop loss at the same level. So here you can see we've got another IB plus IB bar. So here we can either look to book profits or again trail of one part of our position to this level 21881. Because our objective of 21931 is not yet met, so we can maybe either lighten the positions little bit at this level or trail one part to aggressively to this 21881, the IB bar. So here you can see we have again started to form a balance, but we are well above that 21881 reference, and this is where we tag the 21931 level. So this is one good profit booking part. So I'll come back to the market profile chart to also show you how the intraday profit booking levels are shown even on the market profile chart. So here when you have got this good objective done, you will definitely want to book out most of your positions and maybe have one small part open if you feel that there is still some more steam left on the upside. But overall, when an objective is hit, it will mostly give you a retracement. So it is better to book out. So this is the period where we hit the 21931, and we also went on to tag the value area high of that 3-day composite. So it was definitely a sign of booking out profits. So this is one trade setup which was there on the 2nd of 12th of January, and even into the close we will have the IB low of the last signal as our reference to remain long bias for the day even into the close. So if we are getting any fresh signal, we will look to take a fresh position. So here you can see we have not got any other IBs on the 3-minute bar. I'll just shift the and on the 30 minutes we can see how we have formed this RS. We have hit that objective of the value area high composite, and we have formed a RS on the 30 minutes. So this is a signal that you can book out your positions. Even on the 3-minute order flow, you can see zeros on the buy side. This is a classic RS pattern, which is telling you that it is time to book out. It is time to exit any long position you are having. So after this, it went on to make a small pullback to 947, and then in the so you see how once we hit the objective, we can come out of the trade and we don't need to uh, wait for any other confirmation. Here in the close, we got this pullback low at 21904. So which was one reference because it was a good RB bar on good volumes. So it was looking as if the downside was getting captured, and from there we went on to get back to almost the highs of the day. So here again on this day when we closed 12th of January, it was a very bullish day. It was kind of a double distribution trend day up because we had initiative buying in the open, and then we went on to hit this objective, important objective. But what was left was this responsive selling tail from the 1st of January. It was, I think, from 22,004 to 22,025. So that was the setup for the 12th. I will come now to the setup which was there on the 15th. So 15th we opened higher. It was a higher open, and it was kind of the imbalance which we saw at the close the previous day. It went on to continue that. So I'll come to the order flow chart. of 15th, and you can see the A period order flow chart on the left side and see how it is in sharp contrast to what we saw on 12th. On 12th, the A period, we saw a nice RB bar where we made a POC at the lower segment, and we saw some good caught, and also we saw some the VWAP also at the lower end, and we saw a close at the highs, around the highs. So here you can see the 3-minute order flow chart of the same day, and this was a trade which we had taken in the trading room. So it was the higher open and we went on to get this IB. So it was very clear that there is no short trade open in the first 6 minutes at least. And then we went on to hit this 22104. So you can see here, this is an RS bar, correct? The 927 bar is an RS bar. And if you are long with on this IB, this low 22060 would be your stop loss with the POC, this reference of 22065 as the place where you have got fresh longs on that day. So what we were looking for was this, but we got an RS and we went on to tag that POC, and this happened in the A period itself. So you can see at the close of A period, we have negated that IB bar. And when we close, the 30-minute order flow is also showing you an RS on a, the POC is shifted to the top and the price is closed below the POC and the VWAP. So here we can look for a fast, quick retracement trade because the open type was an open auction out of range. And open auction out of range, if it fails to get fresh demand, it will tend to test some reference of previous day, because if it has not got demand, it will obviously come back to previous day's range to look for buyers where it got the buyers last. So that is what it did. And when as soon as the B period opened and we broke that IB low of 22060, this was a short trade, and it was a short trade, and we can see we have got zeros at the VWAP, although we have not got an IS bar here on the order flow. But using market profile, we know that we can look for a test of previous day's range and value. So we are looking for a short trade here, and this is giving us that confirmation that this IB is got negated, which we saw at the open. So which means today's buyers are under water. So using the VWAP plus a filter as a stop loss, we can look for a trade to go short, and the targets would be the lows of the morning, which was at 22041, and then the previous day's range. So previous day's range, the high was at 21995. So we can see how the B period continued to make when the lower lows, and it went on to fall, make a fall very fast till this 21995, and 21995 was exactly where we had the previous day high. The 12th January high was right at this place. So it market profile wise, we have hit that objective. So we have tested the previous day's range, and what have we got in order flow here? We have got a very good RB bar. This is an RB bar. It has tested the high, but it has got rejected. You're getting more buy side volumes here. The selling is getting absorbed, and we have closed at the highs of this bar. So the POC is at the lows. So this is a good RB bar, which is telling us that yes, the auction was looking for buyers and the buyers have come. So we need to exit our short positions if we had taken a short position based on the negation of that IB bar at 22061. So from 22061, we had this quick move to 21995, and then this RB showed us that we need to come out of longs. So this was a good setup on the 12th, 15th of Jan. So here you can see what we have done after the IB. Although the POC and the VWAP of the B period are not at the lower segment, we can see some good greens, and more importantly, we can see this buying tail which is been confirmed after the C period is formed. So this 22025 becomes our reference in market profile. So if you see the market profile chart, this becomes our reference. And now on, after the C period, we look for taking long trades in the auction because we have got demand which has come back. So then in the order flow, we look for some IB bars with this as our reference. 22,000 would be our first reference, and we will look for a IB to form to take a long position. So, but clearly on the 30-minute chart, we know that the downside is done until the 22,025 level is held on the 3-minute order flow. Using that as a support, you can look to take long trades. So, although it was a narrow, you can see the dip it made was a 22024, and this is how we look. This is an IS, but this is on very low volume, so we will not consider that as a. So on the market profile front, what it was doing then was it was forming value higher. I'll just keep the yesterday's chart open so that we are aware about what, and it was making a slow probe higher. It was making higher highs on all TPOs till the I period, and in the J period it made a new high and then it gave a dip also. So it left a pullback low, and then when it came back above VWAP, we had a very good chance that the market profile, the structure wise, that we could close in a spike. So I'll quickly go on to that J period bar. See, J period we made this high of 22,128 and then we made a low of 22,058. So these two become our references. This will be our reference going into the close. More importantly, because this is come at the day's VWAP. So because we are having one initiative buying tail at the lows and the afternoon is being supported at VWAP, we know that we can look for a trade on the upside. But in order flow, we will need to get confirmation via some IB bars. So we need to check. This is that low we made, the J period low, which is an IB RB bar, and we need to look for an IB to take a long trade. So if we are not getting an IB, we will just wait out. But overall structure wise, we know that this area is a support and we are looking for more upside and a spike close. So here we did not get any IB bars. So it did not give us any long trade, but it also kept us from going short. So this was the setup of 15th of Jan, which was yesterday. And I'll quickly come to today's setup and what we were doing today. And what were the probable setups using market profile we could have got today. So today what we did was we opened lower. So as I said, in market profile, we look at value and we trade value, we don't trade price. So we opened lower and I think we made a low just below this J period pullback low, and we went on to make higher highs in the B period. I'm sorry, again it has gone to the TPO. Yeah. So see, this makes the all the difference because we need to be sure that we are watching the value based chart, because that is where we get the actual and the right references. The volume based references are what here. So here we can see the B period stalled right at the previous value. So we know that the open type is open auction in range and we are trading in previous value. So there was no case of being bullish. Only thing what we could do is, because we were in previous value, we could look to fade the value area high and the value area low if we are getting responsive signals at that level. So here B and C made similar highs and the D tried to probe higher, but you can see this is a HVN from previous day, 22140. We were not able to take this out and we have left even on the 30-minute bar. We can see this POC at 22132, which is a RS. So on the 30 minutes, we are leaving a responsive selling signal over here on the market profile chart. So this is a good candidate to look for short trades or go long in put options. So we'll just look at what the order flow was showing us today. So this is today's 30-minute order flow, and I will club it with the 30-minute order flow, 3-minute order flow of same time. So I'll straightly go to that time of D D period where we made those new highs and see what the order flow was showing us. Surprisingly, C did not make that dreaded extension today, but it was the D period which made it. So you can see here the D period making these highs, and here you can see all are low volume bars. There is no demand at all on the buy side. So, and we have formed this RS bars. So it is very clear that looking at market profile, we can fade the value of this day. So we can look for because we are getting no demand at the value area high, we can look for a visit down to this value area low and this buying tail. So this is what the market profile is showing us, and we need to get that same confirmation in the order flow. So order flow is given us this RS, and we have not got any IS, but our aim is to look for a short trade. So here we get a nice RB bar right at previous day's POC, and RB plus IB. Although this is on low volume, this is a signal where it can give you that short setup. If this IB is failing, it will give you that confirmation that more downside is due. So here we, after this IB, we are probing higher. We are stalling right at that IBH. So IBH, I told you, was near the value area high of previous day. So it's stalling right there, was giving us that indication that the PLR, the path of least resistance, was to the downside. So although on the downside we were getting continuous RB bars, we knew that it was a day where you can take trades of responsive activity near the value area high of previous day. So you're getting RS signals at the value area high. You can take a quick trade to the POC and the value area low of previous day. So it was just rotating around there before it gave that move in the G period where it broke lower. So the setup wise, we were looking at the same setup because the upside was getting exhausted. So it was more likely that we will go down. So, and here you can see we've got one IS at the fag end of the move, and we made this low of 21,964. So I'll just quickly move on to show you where the 21,964 reference was, because in order flow, not only gives us good references, but it also complements with the market profile charts. So you can see this 30-minute closing bar of 12th of Jan. So this POC is right at 21965. So this was an important reference, and this was a buy side reference. So which is what held today in that dip lower. So, and on 30-minute order flow, you can see that line is protruded outside. So till it tagged here, the line was showing up that this is previous buy side references 21978 and 21965. So as soon as we hit these lows today and we got the RB, we did not get any fresh selling here. You can see this 247 buyer right at lows, and the POC shifted right to the bottom. So this is telling us that the downside is done for the day unless this level is negated by an IS. So this was the setup which we had today. One was a short trade and one was the signal from the order flow which was telling us that the downside is over. So market profile wise, what we did was we tagged this, we went below this and we tagged the reference of 12th of Jan, and we left this responsive buying tail, which will be a good reference for the coming session. So in market profile, these 2 days are overlapping, so we can merge them for tomorrow's session and see what reference we get. So this is a nice 2-day value area, and the value area is from 22044 to 22125. So we'll need to see what the order flow does at these references 22044 and 22125 and look for trade opportunities. This would be our support for the buyers to hold. And if we open higher and we are getting RS at this level in order flow, we will look for a 80% rule, which is a trip down to the value area low. So I'll quickly go to the option chart 21,900, because so that we can see how we can use the same setups in the option chart. So this is the 12th of January's profile chart of the 21,800 call option. So you can see the value area, the AP rate tail of 11th is here. 112 was the high, and that will be a reference. And we have an important POC at 134. This is a POC which has not been tagged. That is the reason it was being forwarded on the right side. So this was the objective. These VPOCs serve as objectives, as targets for trade in that direction whenever we are getting a fresh imbalance. So this along with this, again I'll have to shift to the volume based. So this POC at 134 along with this POC at 199 were our probable objectives for that day, and this VWAP also. So we knew when the market is going higher, these are the targets which we can get. And in order flow, what we do is we watch the references and the levels what the order flow is giving us. So we had to take out that 112 from previous day, which was taken out only in the B period, and it left that extension handle at here, that 114 level. So this is where we get that long trade. And in options, as we did uh, looking at the combo of 30 and 3, we'll do the same even on the option front. So when we know that 112 is crossed, that becomes our reference, and we look on 3 minute where we are getting an IB bar at that level. And the moment we get an IB bar confirmed at that level, we take a long position with the stop loss being the low of that IB signal. So I'll just quickly come to that 12th of January option chart, 3 minute. And this is what we do. We have the 30-minute order flow and the 3-minute order flow. So the 30-minute order flow chart keeps our bias in the right uh, direction, and the 3-minute will give us the entries and the exits. So using this, we get good and multiple entries and exits in one particular uh, imbalance. So we are finally there at the 12th Jan order flow chart. I'm just bringing it to the opening bars so that we can track it right from the open and see what trades we were getting on that day. So here we are. So these are the opening bars of the 21,800 call option. So here you can see the opening bar had all zeros above this 105 level, but anyways our reference of 112 was still there, and once we had this tick at 114, we can have that as our level to go long, provided we get a IB at that reference. So what we do, we look for that confirmation, because once using market profile, we know that we are looking for a long trades. So we will wait for an RB and an IB bar to show up in order flow. So we will not uh, take much notice of these, because we know that we are looking more on the downside, on the upside. And here we know the low is at 90. So unless these lows are broken, we will not look at taking any short trades in this. So here you can see this bar when it just gets above 114, and this is a big bar, although it is showing as an RS, but this is taken out. This very important objective was 114. So using, and the low of that bar is right at that 100 and just above that 114 level. So this will be a reference to go long in this call. 116 would be our stop loss, and we can hold on to the long positions because we have already got that confirmation on the Nifty futures and the market profile chart. So we, even if we are taking a long trade at this level, after the bar closes at 133, our stop loss is not even 20 points. And we look to hold that and book profit at one part at 1 is to 1, and then we will trail it to our entry point, or we can use this 130 as the reference because this is the POC of this IB bar, and which is very close to the entry point. So this is how we will hold on to the long position, and we have nothing to lose here because it is a risk free trade. So this is how we will hold on, and once we get a new IB signal on the 3 minute, we can either trail it to the lows of that, or based on our entry point, we can book out completely from that trade because it has given you a good uh, reward. So we don't need to just keep on to holding toward this because this is one good RS bar. So this is clearly showing profit booking. So you can book out profit and look for a re-entry into this candle. So this is how the setup was on the 12th of Jan in the 21,800 call. I'll quickly lastly wrap up the Bank Nifty's setup today before we can wind up, because I think we've already crossed time. So I'll start with the market profile chart of Bank Nifty. So So again in Bank Nifty, the open type today was open auction in range because we opened in previous day's value, and we rejected this spike close what we had yesterday. So it was a sober open. We opened in range and we had that probe higher. We made higher highs. We took out these highs of previous day and we made the dreaded seaside extension. So we have a very good setup uh, in seaside, and more often than not Bank Nifty always plays it to perfection. So we are always on the lookout for seaside extension trades in Bank Nifty, and today was no different. And in fact, we were in the audio session in our trading room when this happened, and Shai also guided us of what trade we could take. So I'll just quickly tell you, and I'll explain what the rules of the seaside are. Seaside generally gives a fake move out because, and in the order flow what we can see it in the market profile, what we can see is it moves out of the IB, the initial balance, but it gets rejected and it immediately comes back. So once in order flow you are seeing that there is no fresh demand coming in the seaside extension, you can look for a trade for a retracement to the day's VWAP. So that is the seaside setup. So that is what we were playing for. And if you see in order flow, I'll just quickly put on the 30-minute order flow so that we are watching the 30-minute order flow chart here. And so you can see this A period was an open auction in range. We had the POC at the lowest. The B period did look as if it will be a good IB bar, but what happened was we got lot of reds. You can see the cot over here minus 3000, and you can see these big reds coming in at the highs. So it was very clear, and you can see the demand side where you are not having much of numbers. They're all single digit and double digit numbers. Whereas on the sell side, we are having big numbers. You have 1300, 1700, and the same thing continued in the C side where we made those marginal new highs. But again, on the demand side, there are hardly any numbers. But here we've got 4 rows of reds clubbed together. So in order flow, when you're getting these rows together of reds or greens, that is giving you additional confirmation that that side is looking to get dominating. So using this 440 as the reference, we had the trade setup for the VWAP of the day, which was this, and a break of VWAP would give us that a trade to the to new lows of the day and previous day's POC. I'll show in the profile chart. So once this gets rejected, our targets for the day would be the VWAP of previous day and the POC of previous day. So this is how market profile uh, setups gives us trade opportunities. So how we trade, we use the order flow and we look at probable options. So I'll quickly move to the market profile chart of the 48,500 put option which we traded. So you can see the C side making new lows in this put, and as I had shown you that RSPOC at the top in that chart earlier, you have an RBPOC in this C side at 297. So this 297 would be our stop loss. And once the C side gets back into the IB, we can look for a trade for the VWAP and then the POC of previous day. So these were our probable targets, and above that we look for VWAP of the previous day as well as the next reference, which was the value area high or the escape pullback high. So C side was giving us this setup, and in the order flow we were looking for confirmation for this setup. So here you have the 30-minute order flow of that 48,500 put, which I am talking about on the left side, and the 3-minute one on the right side. So this So here you can see, in fact, we have got an IS bar on the 30 minutes on the 945 bar, which is the B period. And then we got this RB at 297. So once we get back above IBH, this is the IBH is at 324. So entry back into 324 is our uh, trigger, and stop loss would be the lows of this, which is 296. So this 296 was not hit, but and the VWAP, and we went on to make a high again of 558, I think. Yeah. So this is how we take trades on this setup. And I'll just quickly move on to, although the seaside was a late one today and it took little more time to give the objectives, but the setup was always there and it is valid till the stop loss or the setup is not negated, which would have been the seaside high being broken in the futures and the seaside low being broken on the put. So which never happened today. And in fact, we got double confirmation later in the day of a good buyer coming right above the 297 level. So this is the 297 level which we made in the C side, 1039 bar, and this IB was the signal that you can go long. But what you can see here is it is just stalling at this IBL level, which in futures it had come up. So, but the stop loss was still this, and as long as that lows were holding, we were always on for this trade. So I'll just show you where we did make the trip to VWAP, and then we made the dip back lower. You can see this big IS bar in the dip. The dip again made a low right above the 297. So that this became our renewed confirmation that this support is holding. So we can look for a re-entry into this put option for a trade again into the uh, lower side. And on the market profile chart, as we were expecting, if this VWAP breaks, we can look for the POC and the VWAP of the previous day. So that those were our probable targets. So, and those came on to hit in the I period. It once it broke below that 48185 level, it went on to tag that 481 0.9 level, and it made a low right at previous day's pullback low, which was at 48070. So that was a booking point. So this is how we look for trade opportunities on market profile charts, and then use the order flow charts, the 30-minute and the 3-minute combination, to take trades and to exit trades. So hope you guys liked this session and it was of help to you. So that is it from my side for now. I think we have already shooted over the time. So I'll not keep you holding for any longer. So any queries you have, we can have a quick round of questions here. If anyone has any queries about today's session, and in case you need to get in touch with us, you can always write to us support@vtrender.com. And if you have any queries regarding the charts we have, you can mail us at charts@vtrender.com. So we hope and we intend to continue these kind of sessions where we can learn and grow together. We can continue doing it, and we can make best use of whatever resources are available. So thank you guys for joining in. I think that's it from now, and let us catch up soon for another 5 p.m. session. Thank you guys, and signing off for now.